It's oddly enough been a couple weeks since I filmed in here and it feels a little weird. Hello to the internet, my name's Craig Montgomery and we're here today to talk about the things that make you say, who even am I? And it's time for another installment in the empathy series. So I talked a little bit about perspectives and how I feel like that's really important in being able to practice empathy. And then I talked about listening, which I think is obviously the biggest skill set that's necessary when you are trying to practice empathy. Surprise twist, there's another skill set that's actually really important as well, and that is making sure that you reciprocate, opening up when you are practicing empathy. It really opens up the channel between both parties to make that person feel like you're present. So being a good listener is really important to make the person who is in crisis or needing attention in some way to feel seen. You know, if you're listening well, you make sure that they know that they're heard and that their point of view and their feelings are important and valid. And then when you are opening up and reciprocating, you are helping them feel not alone in their experience. So hopefully you will be able to reach into your own emotional experiences and find something that is somewhat comparable to what that they're going through, and helping them see that, you know, you may have not been in that exact same situation, but you've been in a situation where you've had to deal with similar problems. Basically just showing them that you are operating in perspectives, that you're trying to take their perspective and understand what they're going through, and you're relating it to something that you've been through yourself. And that opens up the channel for them to feel like you're there with them. They both feel seen, I'm here, you're validating that, and that feels very kind. And I also see that you are here with me, and that makes me feel less alone in this experience that I'm going through. And that makes a very powerful connection and really creates a nice little bond between the two people. And typically it can be very healing for the person who is hurting in that moment. And I guess also it doesn't necessarily have to be a crisis moment. This is also really useful tools in building stronger bonds with people in your daily life, your friends and family that you're dealing with. If you're looking to kind of deepen those connections and really be more present, you can also utilize those skills in that context. It's just typically not needed unless someone is hurting. That's the moments where it's most beneficial, because the worst thing is feeling alone and isolated when you are also hurting, because it's hard. I would say the most important thing to keep in mind when you're sharing your own experiences is really trying to not place judgment with it. And by that I mean not using one of your own personal stories to try and push the person in a specific direction and how they should be handling what they're going through, or placing any kind of opinion on it. The goal is really just to establish shared experience. That's the only thing you want to say to the person is, me too. I felt this too, and I understand that it's really hard. You don't want to say, oh yeah, I remember one time I was dealing with that as well, but I just did this and it was totally fine. That's sympathy based, saying, oh, I see where you're at, and you're gonna be okay. It's just like, don't even worry about it. It's very diminutive, it's very diminishing of their experience, and kind of telling them like the place that they're in is not important because there is an end goal. And I guess the important thing is, like, being in the place where we are trying to practice empathy, to take into perspective is, yes, we will move through things, but that doesn't make the present moment not important. We have to process and move through things to be able to get to the other place. So that's kind of something that I think is really important to keep in mind, because it can be very detrimental if you're constructing your story with an agenda. And also, I guess don't put too much pressure on yourself. You need to be open to the fact that the person might not see that your experience that you have relates to theirs, or maybe you don't really have an experience that relates to theirs. And then it becomes a little bit more complicated to kind of dig in and try and find a way to help them feel less alone in what they're going through. And that might just be developing more language to to say, you know, like, hey, I haven't experienced anything like that. I'm sure it's extremely difficult. I can see that you're really struggling with it. And that's still bringing yourself down and opening yourself up to a bit of vulnerability, to where that person feels like you're joining them, like you were coming to have this emotional experience with them, and it closes that gap. It brings you closer, which is the whole goal. So, yeah. But yeah, that's my sort of amateur opinions around the process of empathy, and next week I think I'm going to be doing a wrap-up of the whole empathy series and doing just kind of a general coverall of the process and why I think it's really important and useful in human connection. So yeah. If you like the video, give it a like. If you like what I've been doing, please subscribe. I release videos every Tuesday, and they come straight to you that way, which is cool. If you have any thoughts on empathy or the concepts that I've been covering, I'd really enjoy hearing from you, so please leave a comment down below so we can give a little chat over the interwebs. And as always, take care of yourself.